Okay, here we are once again. How is everybody doing out there? Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live from La Colonia La Vena here in Puerto Vallarta, here from home. We are reporting after last night's hurricane, what was it called? Lydia came and went, leaving behind a bunch of fallen trees and other debris. We'll be reporting about this in a second, but first of all, I want to know that everybody is doing okay. Please feel free to write a short message to let us know that wherever you are doing okay. Today we have, obviously, we're going to look at the aftermath of the hurricane to see what happened in our homes, in our businesses. We've started to gather some important photographs and information, and then we'll continue on with some of the news that seemed to, shall I say, unimportant yesterday, given the severity of the situation. So we're going to get going as usual. Again, I am grateful for your choice of being here at Coffee and Headlines this morning to get your news. We have 105 friends watching live. So again, thank you so much for choosing Coffee and Headlines for your credible information. We'll have more on that in a second. Before we continue, as always, if you have something really important to share with us, something that you want everybody to know about, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q to your comment. And of course, if you're watching live for the first time, feel free to let us know. We'll be so very happy to give you a little welcome if you add the word new to your comment. So let's get started. Of course, here we are the morning after Hurricane Lydia touched land some 55 kilometers south of Puerto Vallarta. As you can see, it landed close to 6 p.m. as a Category 4 hurricane. It is now heading inland, and it will have reached the other side of the country or maybe dissipated by the end of the day. But yesterday, it was a different story as Lydia got closer and closer to Puerto Vallarta yesterday afternoon. Traffic began to collapse in the most important throughways in the city, with many people trying to reach the safety of their homes. Others were desperately trying to hop on a city bus before the city buses stopped circulating at 4 p.m. It wasn't until close to 9 p.m. in the evening last night that Puerto Vallarta started to feel the true impact of the storm. Some reporters stayed put at City Hall, documenting with videos such as this one. I kept posting pertinent updates on our Facebook page until there was nothing left to do but wait for it to pass. You're looking at the plaza in front of City Hall. Needless to say, it was a very intense event. And this morning, media outlets are reporting fallen trees and debris throughout the city. And apparently, Emiliano Zapata and El Centro have been without electricity since last night, along with some other parts of the city. Here's a look at one of those beautiful planters put on Basilio Vadillo by the Puerto Vallarta Garden Club. Unfortunately, this one will need some heavy pushing to bring it back to the place where it should be. Some close friends started reporting photographs from early morning walks. This morning, there was a little bit of debris in the Quale Island, and as I understand it, the water overflowed in parts of the island, but fortunately, the Rio Quale level did not pose any danger. I read on the Joint Co-working Hotels Facebook page that they ended up evacuating their guests to other places just in case, but they reported no major damage. Large beachfront businesses always know how to prepare for these situations, but some of the smaller ones may not have been so lucky with damaged palapas and such, but we hope these businesses will recover quickly. I'm sure there will be more updates throughout the day, and we'll share those tomorrow. In the meantime, it's another day in Puerto Vallarta. We hope everybody's doing okay. On a personal note, Coffee and Headlines was started around a tragedy on March 31st, 2021, as COVID loomed over our heads and we experienced major uncertainty about what our foreseeable future would hold for us. And I've been monitoring the number of followers we have on our Facebook page as we are steadily approaching 6,000. 2 days ago, we were just at about 5,950. So of the 68 followers we welcomed in the past 28 days, over half of you clicked on the follow button during the last 24 hours. So once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for trusting Coffee and Headlines to deliver trustworthy news and information about our city on a regular basis. It means a lot to me that you choose Coffee and Headlines. And if you haven't clicked on the follow button, you could easily bring us to 6,000 followers during the course of the day. We only have 8 of those to go. Moving on to other important news, we start with one of 2 important changes in Mexican law. The first one has to do with applying for a job. When you apply for a job in Mexico, companies frequently ask for a carta de antecedentes penales. This is a legal document that certifies that you do not have a criminal record. Now, Mexico's Senate has unanimously approved a reform to the federal labor law that forbids this requirement. So if you've been in trouble with the law but have paid your dues, you can now go get a job without the scrutiny of potential employers out there. The other law that was modified comes from Mexico's civil code as it relates to getting married. The code used to refer to newlyweds as husband and wife, but this has now been modified, removing discrimination to same-sex couples. Instead of husband and wife, the civil code now uses the term cónyuges, which translates to spouses. Good news. And this is important and interesting. We've been wondering where the COVID-19 vaccines are. We previously learned and had announced that they would become available at the same time as the flu shots, which became available 2 days ago. And now we have learned that the state of Jalisco is turning down the vaccines currently being made available by the federal government because they are not endorsed by the World Health Organization. These would be the Cuban Abdala vaccine and the Russian Sputnik vaccine. So what happens next? Fernando Peterson, who oversees Jalisco's Ministry of Health, has no answers yet. but he did indicate that Jalisco hospitals and clinics belonging to IMSS and ISTE do have the Russian and Cuban vaccines available. So it's pretty much a matter of choice whether you wish to get vaccinated with these vaccines or if you wish to wait until other vaccines that are approved by the World Health Organization become available. And last but not least, just a minor update on that structure behind the fishing co-op near the Rosita Hotel that had been demolished. Today we learn that the Rosita Fishing Co-op is actually authorized by law to demolish and expand their restaurant area, despite the legal problems the co-op has had with a competing family for decades. And this is our big chunk of news for today. Let us now turn over to the weather forecast to see how our snarky weatherman is surviving. Snarky weather guy says it's fucking sunny again. That much is true. Maybe a tornado will spice things up. All I have to say is no thanks. We just had one of those. So, go tornado elsewhere in the country, not here. Right now, we're enjoying 28 degrees Celsius. Humidity is high at 80%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 82. And our weather forecast for today. And that brings us to our leisurely section of the broadcast. And of course, yesterday, I think everybody was so preoccupied with what is going on locally. I did not see many leisurely news items out there, but I'm happy to report that the Jalisco Philharmonic has announced their third season, which starts on October 29 and ends on December 10th. I will leave you the link to the dates and programs in the show notes. And I can tell you in advance that I know where my savings are going to go for the rest of the year. There are a couple of concerts that I definitely do not want to miss. As you know, the Philharmonic performs at the Teatro de Gollado in Guadalajara, so it requires a quick trip to the city to enjoy the energy of watching a symphony orchestra performing live. And speaking of energy that results from enjoying music together, you'd think I'm ready for tomorrow's presentation. I am not. Yesterday, I ended up being so distracted with what was going on around us that I still need to put some finishing touches to country music, from dusty trails to chart-topping tales, my account of my research on the history of country music, which I'm very excited to bring to you tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Joint Hotel, which has recently branded to a different name that I'm still not used to saying. So I'm going to have to get that into my mind. But not now. Right now, let us take a quick look at some of your comments just to see how everybody is doing out there. And did you lose my sound? When did you lose my sound? I may have turned something off inadvertently, but I sure hope you can listen to me now. Let's see. Comments. Almost time to belly up. Oh, I read that earlier. Many good mornings, many good mornings, many good mornings. I kept looking for that cat flying on the palm tree all day yesterday, and I couldn't find it in time for the broadcast. Let's see. Purim pum pum. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Raymond says that was quite a storm. Yes, it was. But again, we should consider ourselves fortunate. I haven't heard of major damage. Although, oh, I just bumped my microphone. Although I did hear of a casualty in the state of Nayarit. A man was driving down the highway when a tree happened to fall as he was driving under it. This is very sad. Let's see what else we have. There's a queue. Thank you very much. Que onda, Paco? Hola, cluster, celebrating my birthday today and another trip around the sun. Hope there are many more. Happy birthday! And many more. Let's see what else we have. Uh-oh, Catherine's reporting no power, no water, many trees down, including my front yard. Sorry to hear that. Carmen reports from Fluvial, all good in Fluvial, fallen trees, traffic lights, some light fences. We have power and water, strongest I have lived in 23 years in PV. Do you think, well, actually, yeah, I have to agree with you, Carmen, because when Kenna came and went, I was living up in Calle Jacarandas, and it never got windy the way it got windy last night. No, over there, that chair that is always in the back of my living room is a chair made out of wrought iron, and I have it. The latches on that window. See, I can't point properly. You see the window. That window. It doesn't latch well, so what I usually do when it gets windy is I lean my very heavy wrought iron chair against the window to keep it from opening. And last night the wind was strong enough to push the chair away from the window, so I ended up staying in the living room watching television while the worst of the storm went away. I had a couple of power outages, but fortunately, more often than not, power was fine, at least in this part of the city. Let's see what else we have. A new person watching live. Hello, Todd. Hi, all. Usually catch the recordings, but watching live today to get the updates on the storm. Hope all are safe. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Todd. Thank you very much for being part of the live experience. As you can see, everybody seems to be doing fine, but I'm sure we'll hear more details in days to come. Muffin on the street is doing good. And if anyone has a semi-used dresser or armoire they're looking to get rid of, I might be in the market, says Logan. There you go. And I see a cue here from Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Paco, in the next few days, can you let us know if any of the local charities need anything, i.e. clothes, etc.? We're coming back in 2 weeks and could bring some things. I'm going to say, Jimmy, that I am happy to report on things that I see reported on the media. So what I'm looking for usually is news. What I suggest to you is to contact your favorite charities. If I read of any specific charity that is looking for someone and they send the information my way, however, I will be very obliged to share it here, and I'll be happy to do so. Let's see what else. Guy says we're fine in Versailles as well. Good to know. Good to know. Ta-da-ta-ta-ta-ta. Rob, who is our newbie friend, I hope all are well and safe. Only minor damages near Canto del Sol Resort. Their rickety pier pagoda is still standing. Good to know. Salam says it was the most horrific storm and I don't want to see another one like it. I should say I did feel a little uneasy when a couple of moments I think things got a little bit intense out there. Let's see what else. We hear that the cliff was heavily damaged. The palapa appears to be gone. Oh my goodness, and that is a monstrous palapa. I can see how that could happen. It's so exposed. Let's see. Your broadcast is the first place we go for accurate information. Thank you very much, Dan. I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. And what else? What else? No sound and no pick. I must have pushed the wrong button, and it must have been momentarily, because fortunately I didn't notice many. Oh, no sound for the weather report. My bad. But I think we're fine now. Well, I would have seen a lot more messages if we weren't. Boom, 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 boom. Here's another cue. Any first-hand reports from friends Boca de Tomatlan, south to Yelapa, Chimo, anxious to get word from El Tuito, Maito, and Tegua as well. Not from those places, but there was a town inland, I believe it's called Outland del Rio, that was completely flooded. It was very, very sad to read that. Ramona asks how many miles an hour were the winds last night. That is a great question. I have no idea, but it was very strong. And I'm sure that if you look at windy.com, you will find the answer to your question. Let's see. What was your experience with Lydia? Did it start calm and then all of a sudden intense? I think I would describe it as such, because, you know, when it touched land, we didn't feel anything. And then all of a sudden around 8:30, no, it was a little earlier, around 7:30 or 8, I started hearing sound around me coming from tiles in buildings nearby and so forth and so on. And then all of a sudden around 8:30 in the evening, it started whooshing. So there you have it. That's what it was like. Did you get a new couch? No, Colleen, I got an old couch. I simply moved it from one place to another. Let's see what else. Gary comments on the question. In the US, it's called ban the box. So many people have records that are not relevant to the work they are looking to do. Many low earners do not have the money to expunge prior records where they did something silly in their youth, not even if expungement is a thing in Mexico. Well, I don't know if it is or if it isn't, but I think anyone that is trying to start a new life deserves to do so without major prejudice. Anyone know how Gina's place is? That's a good question, Mark. Gina lost some of her aluminum fencing, but nothing major. She's going to be fine, and she should be open for business today as usual. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, thank you for that, Rob. Rob says it was 140 miles per hour. There you go. Carmen says there were some very stressful moments between 6:30 and 9. I have to agree. And this pretty much brings us to the end of the broadcast. I hear that there are nearby power outages taking place, so I might as well wrap things up while we can. Again, thank you so much for tuning in with us this morning, and thank you so much for choosing Coffee and Headlines. As you know, we are here thanks to your kind contributions, which come in the form of occasional coffees that you can buy, and also through your memberships. But please also keep in mind that every time you forward the broadcast, every time you hit like or follow and subscribe on YouTube, you are contributing to our continued success. And that makes Luna and I very happy. Today, we wrap up our presentation for country music. We go buy some much needed groceries. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow And the new name for the joint is Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. I just saw it scrolling by. Thank you very much for your preference. I'll see you again sometime soon. Take care.